People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, I've done my player ratings, I've spoken about the game in general. I wanted to briefly speak about central midfield, Gabriel and Neny. Man said Gabriel. Gabriel, big up Gabriel for his performances. As you can see, he's just on my mind fully. Not a funny thing, but it is what it is. For Partey and Neny, you know, just for today, it was moving like Gilberto Silva and Patrick Vieira. Obviously, I definitely don't think Partey is Patrick Vieira, no disrespect to him. And Neny's got a long way to go before he's mentioned in Gilberto Silva. But today, Colossus. You can think Neny isn't good enough. You can think he should have been sold, myself, whatever. But today, when Neny's been thrown in, generally this season, taking his chances, today he took his chances. Couldn't ask Neny for anything more. He's a better player technically than man give him credit for, but I'm not going to look to Neny to split the lines and get assists and, you know, them things there, you know. But for what I saw from him today, he tried to do that. He played forward and positive passes. He mucked in defensively a hell of a lot. He covered a lot of ground. He was pressing. He was all action. And Partey the same. Partey pocketed Paul Pogba, won his individual battles, shielded the ball well. It was a fantastic midfield partnership, and personally, that's the one I'm rocking with right now until something suggests. I'm a fan of that. I've previously been very vocal on Ceballos and Partey, people. And the performances like this in a healthy way spark debate. Again, what worked against United, we've got Spurs in our next top game to come. That might not work in that game. It's a squad game. Games are coming thick and fast, people. And the fact of, you know, when you consider Xhaka wasn't played today, and I don't think Xhaka should be in the starting lineup, but Arteta has used him week in, week out, as has previous managers. So there is some use to him. And, you know, Arteta has spoken very highly of Xhaka and the role he has to play under him, and he's played him every game. Arteta is very flexible. When you consider that Xhaka didn't start today and David Luiz, until Holding got injured against Man City, wasn't going to play, and Xhaka and David Luiz are two names that I always think are first names on the team sheet, it further throws up clues as to who Arteta rates or doesn't rate, or if this isn't necessarily that, which might be overdoing it. It shows his flexibility and the fact that he's got poker cards on his face. Now for me, he's got a poker face on. Now for me, I don't think Xhaka should be a starting lineup sort of man. I've been saying that, but I do think he's a rotation man, and there will be games he will be used. So I'm not saying don't draw a conclusion. I'm not saying Xhaka shouldn't be the starting lineup, because Neny shouldn't be dropped. Partey shouldn't. I'm just saying it's a squad game. What worked today might not work in the next game. You know, it's a squad game. There's a 25-man squad. There's 38 Premier League games, you know, to come. Xhaka has played well in big games as well, so we can't draw too many conclusions. That being said, as I've previously said, for me it's Ceballos and Partey, or now obviously because Neny's been playing well this season and more so today as well, it's Neny and Partey. We might look at that midfield if it went wrong and say it's not expansive, it's not this, it's not that, and that will come. You know, that pivot will play together and we will lose, and in typical fan fashion we will say that, but I think that's the thing. Again, we can ask, is it the most expansive? Is it going to dictate the tempo of the game? We know Partey's got some qualities going forward. We know, as I've just said, Neny's definitely got more attacking qualities, or I say attacking, I say technical, passing range, ball retention than man give him credit for. They just think he's just running about. But, you know, is it the most expansive? Is it going to slice teams open? Is it someone that's going to dictate the tempo of the game? No, but it was a midfield pivot that needed for the task we had today, and replicated that well, and in a good way. You know, Xhaka might be looking at his boy. I normally play week in, week out. I'm probably looking at maybe 30, 40 games minimum as an Arsenal fan, as Arsenal player, sorry, if that, and was once a captain. Now I've got a hell of a lot to do to get back in that team car. Partey's coming for 45 million. He's not getting dropped. Arteta is, you know, he didn't want Neny to leave. He's utilised him and he's played quite well. He's not getting dropped. When I get my chance, I don't want to lose it. And more so for me, Ceballos. Now Ceballos can be frustrating and whatnot, but I think he's got a part to play this season. There might be times Xhaka and some. What would we have said as fans if it was Xhaka and Ceballos and we won today and Partey was on the bench? We wouldn't be saying what we're saying. We can only deal with the facts. My point is that it's a squad game. My bigger point than that is, I believe moving forward, at least until Partey loses his form or Neny loses his form, Neny and Partey need to be the thing. Now again, if you're playing 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, and you know, it's not like United where we're probably thinking a bit too much about their attacking threats, the Rashfords, the Pogbas, the Brunos, I know Martial doesn't play, but typically we have to figure him in and whatnot. why we went for an Neny and whatnot. It might be different if we're playing a team where they're going to, like Sheffield, where, you know, I wouldn't say Xhaka is a creative man, but in terms of what he tries to do, he definitely tries to do that passing sort of thing more than a Partey or Neny and whatnot. Statistically, it's shown it, and I guess tactically, he's told to do that. So it might be different, you know. We might not have these two combative men in midfield. We might go for a Xhaka. I'm not saying that out because I want that. We might, you know, the tactics might be different. For today, it worked, you know. What I liked as well, with the exception of the Aubameyang thing, is that man are playing in their right positions, you know, in big games. You can only do one of these sort of things. Get away with a little Bukayo Saka as a wing back and Aubameyang out wide. You can't do all of that with Aubameyang out wide and then Willian as a false nine. So I'm happy to see that Arteta found the balance with the fact of, you know, he's shown players have played different positions, and like I said, David Luiz was going to be left out of City away. Xhaka was left out today. They're two normal names on the team sheet. It's not that he doesn't rate anyone or whatever. I think with an exception, there are players he will remove out the team and bend players around in terms of his tactics and whatnot. You know, Gabriel can't be rotated because he's just a bad boy, you know. Partey shouldn't be because of what he offers us. So I wouldn't say we've got interesting problems. We still need another creative man. But there's good issues, you know, because based on the last two games this week, you know, we've had Joe Willock and Nelson look well. Based on how they looked in the Europa League, unfair to not be involved today. But the men that went out there today look good. So there's pressures for spots now. The man that turned up in the Europa League, Arteta might be looking like, boy, Nelson, you've been patient. You look good in Europa. Joe, you've been patient. I'm going to give you a lot of chances in the league, you know. Obviously today, I've just spoken about Xhaka and Sabah's got to fight for that team to get back on the team sheet sort of thing. Based on today, Maitland-Niles, you're not playing left or right back. So again, you've got to turn up and make sure you play. So again, we're starting back in a healthy way. There's competition. 2 weak games this week, 2 convincing wins. You know, obviously not convincing in terms of the scoreline and whatnot against Man United. But I personally feel, obviously, as fans, we're going to be a bit nervous. We always think there's going to be one last twist in the game and whatnot. But I wouldn't say it's like we held on, we barricaded the door. I think we had to defend a lot more mans to the pump sort of. You know, what's the right word for when you're just defending for your life? Like, I think we had to do that more when we beat them at home last season than this season. I feel you've obviously got to respect them, but I think we managed the game more convincingly. We looked more like a team that was going to win today versus the second half of that game. Do you get it, people? So it is what it is, people. There's a lot of football to be played, but I'm a big fan of the partnership I saw today, really and truly. And for me as well, on the topic of Xhaka, it further raises for me trying to learn about our manager, Arteta, because as I just said, Luiz and Xhaka, 2 names you think of first names on the team sheet. We know Luiz is out by injury, but again, if we think back to City, he played because sadly an injury to Holding. Now he's played against in the FA Cup final. Do you get it? He started Luiz with an injury in the FA Cup final, but he didn't start him now. Xhaka's played week in, week out, and you know, he's spoken about how, you know, he pulled him back in, said I don't want to leave, and he's central to his plans, and he will be utilised. It's football, it's a squad game. This is what I like about Arteta. But it does raise the question, what does he truly think? Because I say that and I think statistic backs it up, but he's just had a game against United off the back of disappointing results against Liverpool, Leicester and City, and it's worked, you know. And I feel you have to give credit to Arteta. He's retained faith in Willian. Willian hardly set the world alight today, but he gave his manager something to defend. Because if we lose this game, things are said. Boy, why did you go Partey and Neny? Why Bellerin this and that? Saka boom boom boom. Leno this. Mustafi coming on boom boom boom. You know how the mood and the sentiment changes according to whether you've won, lost or drawn. Very few people try and look at things for balance and for what they are. But for what it is, it's a good Sunday for me. Like I said, my team AFC Everton won 3-2 against the team top of the league. Arsenal have ended that sort of curse that's been there since 2006 at Old Trafford, and we do what we need to do. On that note though, people, deluded, I'm out.